Welcome back to the channel. Paul70stastic here. That was the original crash video you just saw from 2015. I thought you might like to see more of that video than you've ever seen before. It actually was just a regular commute to work, just a regular day for me. I've been a full-time dash cammer since 2013. Even before I started YouTube, I actually did dash cam videos in 2012. I didn't think anything special of that day. I just got in my Mustang and went to drive to work, and next thing I know, my car was wrecked, totaled out. That was 6 years ago. I figured you'd probably like to see more of the video, and for those that didn't read the description on the video, you may not know actually what even happened. So let's get started. And that's just me in my car getting ready to drive to work. Started the Mustang. And got on the interstate. Didn't think anything of it. I was just cruising along my usual 65 miles an hour. And my hair was a lot shorter back then. Yeah, I wasn't feeling all that great that particular day. I do remember that I just didn't feel good at all, and I didn't even know what was up. Yeah, right around here, I started feeling really nauseous. At that point, I had no idea what to even expect. I've had nausea before, I didn't think anything of it. See me start to weave a little bit, and that, yeah, I think at that point I was starting to get like tunnel vision, which I had no idea what that even meant. Tunnel vision and nausea. Yeah, you can see me hit the cruise control off button. I hit the cruise off because I could tell something was going wrong. I just had no idea what was going wrong. Yep, and this is the last thing I remembered from that day. Yeah, so what had happened is my blood pressure had basically just dropped, rapidly dropped. I ended up just fully passing out. Like, my brain just went to nothing. And I don't even remember anything after hitting the cruise control off button. And the reason the car accelerated after that was, you can see I went down into this ditch. And my whole body pitched forward. When it did, my foot pushed the gas pedal to the floor. Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't blow up the engine. Thankfully it didn't, but yeah, it just sat at full throttle that entire time. And I wear heavy boots, in fact this exact pair of boots right here. Yeah, it pushed the gas pedal to the floor, and what held it to the floor was the carpet. The carpet was folded over. It was kind of sagging when I bought the car, and it would hold your foot on the gas pedal if you weren't careful. And I was planning on fixing that. I fixed it, but not until after this. So that held my foot all the way to the floor. Now I put a new carpeting in it when I restored the car. I actually put a little metal plate on the side there, so it keeps your foot right in the free and clear. But yeah, so that's what floorboarded the car. You know, a lot of people thought the cruise control was on, but no, that's definitely the off button. And I mashed that off button because I could tell something was going on. So yeah, after that, yeah, the car was floorboarded. I went off the road. And I can't believe this part here. Yeah, that was really close to that pole. If I'd hit that at 70 miles an hour, I'm pretty sure I would have died. Because at that point, I wasn't even next to the airbag, or it wasn't even in front of the airbag, I was next to it. So if I'd hit that, my head would have gone right into the dashboard. I'd probably be dead. And of course those poles hit and messed up the front of the car a little bit. Of course I fully restored it, so you couldn't tell now. Yeah, the tag went all the way up to $5,000. And this part, I still don't know what happened here with the steering. I think it was the alignment was off when I bought the car, and I could tell because the return to center was kind of messed up on it when I first bought it. And I was planning on fully redoing the suspension on it anyway because the strut cartridges up front weren't that great. But this blew them up fully. The struts were gone after this happened. But yeah, the steering, when it hit that ledge, basically the ditch, it steered the car off the road, because if I'd gone head on into the traffic, I'd be dead. Yep, and this is where I woke up. And you can kind of tell when I woke up, you can see that I just grabbed the steering wheel and punched the brakes, but it was already too late. And yeah, after that wasn't very much fun. I had a major headache the rest of the day. Obviously, blood starvation to my brain, oxygen starvation. Doesn't make for a very good time. Actually, a Good Samaritan stopped too, and you'll see that in a second here. He actually helped me out. And yeah, this was just like waking up from a straight up nightmare. Not very pleasant at all. And what ended up happening was there was a driver behind me. He actually saw the whole thing happen. And he stopped and he actually called 911. He called the paramedics and got them out here to the crash site because I couldn't talk. I was so messed up from the blood flow lost to my brain. I was not doing too great, and I could barely even walk. Like, I tried to get out of the car. Yeah, I had to hold myself up on the car. Like, I was so messed up after that. You could hear the engine fan. The engine was hot after running full throttle. My first instinct was to try to drive the car out of there. I was like, oh crap, I'm in the middle of the field. I need to get out. And I was stuck. The tires weren't all that great. It was on mud, so yeah, I got stuck. And I got out of the car to look at the damage. It was pretty rough. And for a little backstory, I actually had just bought this car like a week before. I'd always wanted a Ford Mustang, and this one came up for sale locally in really good condition. It was been in Florida its whole life, so no rust, no accident damage. It was a really nice car. And I got it for a good price. I was like, hey, I can finally actually get a Mustang. And I always liked the new edge body style. Being a 2004, it's the last year of that, and I really liked the car. And I was heartbroken because I remember getting out of the car and just looking at it and seeing the whole side was smashed in on the other side. Front bumper was smashed, had barbed wire scoring all over the car. Like, the barbed wire just went up over the car and just shredded it. And I remember I was just like, this got to be a nightmare. It's got to be a bad dream. And then, nope, it's real life. Yep. It's like at that point I wanted to cry, but it's like I couldn't even cry. It was so hard. Yep, and you can hear the Good Samaritan. Yeah, this guy came, and thank God that guy came, and he called the paramedics, and they came, picked me up. I had to take an ambulance ride because I could just barely even walk. I was so messed up that I couldn't even sit in the ambulance. They actually had to strap me down on the gurney because if I tried to sit, I would just basically like start trying to pass out or something.
What's that? Well, yeah, you actually I was right behind you. You came across here, took this post out, you came back up across, missed that culvert, and here you ended.
Yeah, I tried to open the door, and the door wouldn't open because it was all smashed in.
Did we get you to town?
You can actually still see the in-transits too, because I had just bought the car. Man, you can tell this is 2015.
I'm out here just
And actually, I still don't know who that is. Whoever that is, thank you, man. I was in rough shape. No one else stopped. Everyone else just kept on going, like, hey, a Mustang going through the ditch. Well, it's not a crowd of people, but close enough. Let's just keep going.
Which I do. I just Googled the police department in your listing your field. Thank you.
And for like this whole thing, I didn't even think about the dash cam. I didn't even remember, because I'd been dash camming for so long at that point. I always just ran the cameras. I didn't even think, oh crap, this is all on video. Which I'm kind of glad, because at least now I know what happened. Because at that point, like, I didn't even know where I was after waking up and hitting that fence post.
Very dizzy, yeah. Just sit down and rest. Sit down and rest. Okay.
Yep. And that's the end of the video. So yeah, that was April 2nd, 2015. And I'm pretty much let's all move past that now. I'm still going to keep making YouTube videos of dash camming because that's what I've always done. And as to my health, obviously, right after that happened, I went to the ER and I got seen by a whole bunch of specialists. They ran all kinds of tests, and MRI, tilt table test, all these things. And I actually had a really good doctor. He figured out exactly what it was. And it was actually, the main thing was a hereditary low blood pressure condition. And I've always had the symptoms of that. I just never thought anything of it. I thought everyone had that. But yeah, I think they call it ataxia or something. Basically, you get up really fast, you get super dizzy. And I had that severely my whole life. And I never even thought anything of it because I thought everyone had that. Apparently not. And yeah, my blood pressure, it's not like super low, but it was low enough that my brain needed more and my heart wasn't supplying it. So what ended up happening, they put me on medication for my blood pressure, and it actually helped a lot. I have not had anywhere near the troubles that I used to have and just considered normal. Like now I can just jump up from, working underneath a car or whatever, just jump right up and go right to something else and not have to sit there and be like, oh. And yeah, that was nice. So thankfully those doctors, they figured out exactly what was going on and they treated it. But yeah, it's just too bad it totaled the car in the process. But yeah, 6 years later, I actually did start restoring the car in 2019. Did all the steps myself. There's a series on my channel of that, and I'll put a link to that playlist down below so you can watch all that happened to that car and watch me restore it. Oh yeah, just a quick side note, amplified stereo boombox I built. It's actually pretty cool, but I might make a video on one of these someday. But yeah, I did fully restore the car, and I've driven hundreds of thousands of miles since that happened. Never had any issues since. Obviously, I just needed medication for my blood pressure, and then things are back to normal. Haven't really had any problems. Oh, and also, the video, I actually gave a copy of the video to the doctor, the specialist, who figured out my heart condition, got it all sorted out, fixed up my health to where I actually feel pretty good now. And he took the video, and before he retired, he used it for years as a training aid when he would give seminars or, talk at colleges or whatever. He would show my video as an example of someone with this particular health condition, and yeah, basically use it as an example of, yeah, this is what people can go through. So yeah, now the Mustang is fully restored. I do have a whole ton of other videos planned for this year and later. Obviously, I'll keep dash camming because I think that's pretty cool. And I'm one of very few third-person dash cameras around that actually has the full cockpit of the car visible, which I think is pretty cool. And I'll have a video coming out on why I started that in the future. And also a video on tips and tricks if you want to try to do that yourself and get good results. And I also have other videos planned. I have a video tour of all my cars planned. I'm going to do a one-by-one of all my vehicles and show you, what the vehicle is, all the aspects about it, and why I drive that particular vehicle. So I guess that's a wrap for the video. I hope you enjoyed seeing behind the scenes of that video and stuff you've never seen before. I know the video's been featured on a whole ton of TV shows, but I don't think any of them ever showed the whole thing, what actually happened. They just showed just the crash with no context. And I figured you'd probably like to have the context of the video and see exactly what happened and know crap happens. See ya.